Uh, 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 uh. We are live. Good evening, everyone. Of course, it's going to take a few minutes for us to think. Ashley, I'm still new at this. I know you've been a digital creator, you've been uh, all that for a while, but I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. So, everybody, bear with me. But first and foremost, I want to thank all of you guys. Like I tell everybody, because nobody's being forced to come on. So I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight. Um, I know this is a very touchy subject for a lot of people. Um, and actually, part of the reason why I wanted to do this is because this actually stemmed from someone who's been on our show before, who was a guest. And I'm going to read what she wrote on her page and then we'll go into the subject. So before we start, I kind of would like, because Kia, you've been on before, but I kind of would like for y'all to just give a little blurb on who you are. And while I'm doing some administrative stuff here on my phone. So whoever wants to start can start.
Crickets? Okay, I'll start. I'll start.
Don't be shy. Literally, this is not a big deal.
My 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 real name is Michael.
Okay.
Um, Everybody calls me O'Neill. My middle name is O'Neill. Last name Muller. Born and raised in St. Croix, Sion Farm to be exact. Um, Married 15 years. Um, have 5 kids from 31 all the way down to 11. So that's me. And I'm an IT professional.
Cool. Cool. Who wants to go next?
You're on mute. You're
Yeah,
on mute.
you're
I
on
am
mute.
mute.
Yeah.
Debbie, you mute me. Okay.
No.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kia. I'm from the Virgin Islands as well. I am a mother of three. I am divorced, and I enjoy and joining Debbie on her venture with this live program. And let's see what we're going to talk about tonight.
Amen. Amen.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I go by the Platform Queen on Facebook. I am from the United States. I'm from New York. Um, what else was I supposed to say? Yeah.
Just we kind of number one, you don't have to say your age, but because I always try to have people for certain topics from
Yeah.
different age groups, generations, generation whatever. Just are you single? Are you married? Do you have kids?
Um,
All that kind of stuff.
Married with a kid and a bonus kid. So kids and yeah. I'm probably to. You don't have to say our age, but I'm probably the
No.
youngest right now. So that gives you my perspective of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, yeah, you are the youngest. Um, can, you know, I don't know why it's doing this. I'm trying to share it and it's
Here
giving
is
me, but I'm gonna do something. Um I'm gonna put this link in. See if you can share that link on your page, Ashley. Okay. Um, Let me see. Sorry, you guys. I still always try to do this thing and then it does all kinds of weird stuff. So for some reason it's saying send, it's not letting me share it. So I had to share the YouTube. Okay, Ashley? Okay. Um, so we have one other person that's going to be joining us later on. But what made me want to kind of have this discussion is because I saw a post that Lisa Stevens, who we've had on our show before, she put up a little blurb, and I'm going to read it verbatim. She said, I think the issue is not that women expect men to pay all the bills off top, but that men off top want a traditional woman without having to be a traditional man. They still want the submissive, dating, clothes ironing, house cleaning, having dinner made from scratch every night when he gets home wife. But he wants her to work too. He doesn't want her to be the sole provider. So she ends up killing herself, trying to carry both loads, play both roles, mentally and physically exhausting herself because he wanted superwoman. No woman would knowingly subject herself to that. You want a traditional woman, then be the provider and protector she needs. Want a provider, then learn how to nurture him and keep a home. So, Lisa, shout out to you because you made that post in
Wow, Lisa.
October,
So she,
right?
so she's smart and she make the best cakes. Oh wow. Okay.
Yes.
So
Wow.
let's delve into the definition first.
Okay.
Of what?
So,
Yeah,
yes. So,
yeah.
okay. So, my question to you guys, right, is when you hear the word or in the past, because I've learned some things just in this last week. When you hear the word submission or a woman being submissive, what comes to mind?
Marriage, an actual relationship, not like dating or we just started talking or we're in the talking stage. I'm talking like we're married. We're in this. And she's being submissive to you because you're committed, not just we talking. Oh, that's my girl.
Okay.
No.
And does it denote something negative or positive when you hear the word?
No, it's positive. Like if you're married and you're committed, you should be submissive to your man. And but hold on, also resorting to what Lisa had said, based on your relationship. So if he then wants to be submissive, right? There's things that he has to be doing as well. It's just not just let me be submissive to you and you just living your best life out in these streets and being disrespectful and not caring to the needs of your wife as well. It can't just be a one-way street.
Okay.
I have a question, right?
Uh-huh.
What what kind of what time are we talking about when you say traditional, right? Back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s,
No, I'm talking about right now, 2022, right now.
right? But throughout the course of time, that definition and how it looks in reality change.
Yes, because the men have changed. So what my grandfather
No, no,
did
no, no,
back
no,
in
no, no,
no,
no,
no, because the men
no,
have changed. Because
no.
women, I honestly, if a woman is being treated correctly, I believe she's gonna be submissive. So that it comes automatic. We're just gonna be nurturing people. So because the degree of the men have changed, I feel the submission has also changed. What my grandfather did for my grandmother is not what men are doing for their wives right now. So you're gonna get a different grade of a wife, is what I feel.
So
Okay.
probably the time when your grandfather, right, and your grandmother were together, women weren't really allowed to be in the workplace. So that played a role.
No,
It played a
wait,
role.
hold on. They're not.
It
They're
played
not
a
that
role.
old. They're not that old. My grandmother still worked. She still worked, but her
Oh,
level
okay.
of work was not to the level of what women have to do now. So when she came home and she provided a meal for her husband and children, it wasn't like she was feeling overworked or she was being, like Lisa explained in her passage, where a woman is mentally and physically drained. I never seen her be mentally and physically drained because what most men now want is this 50-50 notion or we on the same level notion. So she out there cutting the grass, she's got out here cooking the meals, she out here taking the kids to school while all he wants to do is walk and come home and sit down for his meal. That's the difference in a man.
Well.
Okay, wait. Okay. Before we go into that though, when you Neil hear the word submission or a woman being submissive,
Mhm.
what comes to your mind?
Um, being respectful and cognizant of the environment that you're in or the relationship, right?
Okay.
Um, at some point, you could say that we all have our role to play,
Okay.
right? Um, which takes me back to what I was saying earlier, right? Like my grandmother, although she was a nurse, she didn't really work. My grandfather worked until I don't know. I show my age, right? up until like the 60s and so, women really couldn't be in the workplace. So the only place for them,
60s?
well 50, 30s, 40s,
My
50s.
grandmother was walking. She was
Yeah,
a
but
teacher.
hear what I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
And my timeline might be wrong, right? But
Okay.
in until the 80s and the 90s, women started really like being in the workplace. But they were secretaries. That's all they could have been, secretaries and stuff like that. Look it up. Look
Wait
it
a
up.
minute. Okay, but wait. Okay, I gonna come back to that. I gonna come back to that. I want
So let
I
me
want
finish.
Ashley to answer the
So let me
question
finish. Let me finish.
because no, because I just wanna say a little tidbit. Donna Christensen, the
Yeah.
delegate to Congress,
Uh-huh.
who was a doctor for a long time. But anyhow, I won't say anyhow. Ashley, I want when you hear submission
Mhm.
or a woman being submissive,
Yeah.
what comes or what came to your mind or what comes to your mind?
Okay. So what came to my mind is like past before educating myself and really like being around examples of submissive women. I used to think like they'll accept anything. They have to play the part, whether the man plays the part or not. Um, they have to cook and clean. I'm sorry, get cheated on, all of this other stuff, and just deal with it and uphold the virtuous woman qualities, you know. And then when I see it now, I see when I hear submissiveness, I see comfort, I see an agreement, and I see an equally yoked couple, and that's what I feel like submissiveness thrives in, and it goes from not being abused, and it goes from actually living and flourishing in your submissiveness. So that's what I think about it now.
And is that since you've been married, or is that even prior to you being married?
Prior to me being married, that's what I saw.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Kia, you were getting ready to say something?
Yeah, because I believe that you could be submissive and still be an independent working woman. Like I believe like in this day and age, you can still have a life outside of your home and still come home and be submissive to your partner. Like that back in the day notion, yeah, that was back in the day. But as of right now, today, I feel the issue that we're having with submission is that it's not equally yoked. Like how she said, like women are not feeling comfortable in their homes to be able to give their husbands that level of submission because we are able to work, we are able to take care of ourselves. So
And
at the
also,
end of the day, when you acting a fool,
yeah,
we don't need you to pay the bills because at the end of the day, we could pay for ourselves too. So
and
really and truly,
the
why are
people,
we gonna be submissive?
the people
Like,
who are actually
Which brings me back to my point. But go ahead.
Wait. Yeah, go ahead, Ashley, and then we'll go to Neil.
likely like, and it's so crazy because like she's saying, but submission is also always thrown around to people who aren't even married. So
that
like,
part,
yeah,
that part.
people who aren't married, they always talk about submission and they want that. They want it to assert their dominance, or you know, and it's sometimes it's like, why are we even talking about this if, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even like we're not even in agreement to anything else. Like, our why am I being submissive to you? I could
The
be nice,
same people that think that they're not single when they ain't married. No, baby,
but
you single.
yeah,
You're single.
I could be nice, but we talking about submission. Like that's you can't give that to everyone, and that's
You
why
can't.
they they think about submission and they do it and then they end up burning themselves out, and by the time they get married they want everything to be 50-50, and it doesn't work that way
Correct.
because you're out during the dating stage. But yeah,
That's true. Go ahead, Neil. Mm-hmm.
So I had a similar conversation like this back in 1987
Oh God, that
when
was
I
like
was in
34 years ago.
college, right? And I went to college in Alabama, right? So I will open the door for a young lady, right? And when she went in, she didn't say nothing. I said, "Oh, it's like that." She's like, "Yeah, you're supposed to do that, right? That's like chivalry and stuff like that." So my thing was to her, women's liberation came right around maybe the 40s or the 50s, right? Listen, it been less than probably 100 years when women really had a lot of rights to do stuff, right? All I'm saying is I don't agree with what happened back then,
Mm-hmm.
but once women were allowed, because they weren't allowed to be in the workplace, that's a fact. Once they were allowed to be in a workplace, right? It get to okay, we're in the workplace now. Then it went to okay, I need to make the same amount of money as you, which is fair. Then is now, oh, I got my own money, right? So like back then, women couldn't work. So what was their job? To be a homemaker, and the man was supposed to provide. That was his
Still
thing,
is.
right? That was just the way it was. Times
Mhm.
have changed. So
Yeah,
now,
they didn't have Snapchat, they didn't have Facebook, they didn't have TikTok for man to post whatever in the DMs of other people. So when
right?
it
But they had trucks, they had cars, right? I mean, there was still. All I'm saying is,
feel, I'm sorry, I
like,
personally feel that the men were different back then. So it was no
really,
problem for woman to be no,
really,
hold on. To a degree.
okay.
Because you for that time frame, right? I feel that's what the women were known for doing at that time frame.
You know what's so crazy? I watch a podcast all the time, right? And I think that as women, we always say that, it's a different type of man. But I think truly that chivalry is dead because of women. I think all of that stuff is dead because of women. And I feel like men have to earn women. Women come in the room and they can naturally attract men and not have to do anything for them. But men, you always have to come and you have to show what you can offer to a woman because now we have the rights, we have the money, we have this, so they have to prove themselves.
Right.
Feel like
Neil's
if,
like, right.
if there's no mutual energy, like if a woman is coming and they're like entitled instead of seeing what a man has to offer, she's like, well, this is this and this is this. And that's because she probably was submissive to a lot of partners. She got that energy back. She put her crown back on. And now her crown cannot move just a little bit, like she has to be there. And she has to be like, well, listen, they played me, but they played you because you allowed submission before marriage. So now that creates a new type of women who are a generation of I don't need man, and men like, well, if I have to do all of this to get you, then you need to. Now we're transactional. Everything is transactional now, and nothing is actually submission. It's more like control.
Right. And actually that's the thing. I think there's a couple dynamics going on. Number one, when you look up the word submission, it talks about the action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another.
Look
That's
look up submissive. Submissive are a little different. Look up submissive.
submissive.
Yes.
So the act of being.
Ready to conform to authority or will of others, meekly obedient or passive.
That
Right.
don't that don't sit right in my spirit.
But if you're
Exactly. But let me
a wife
tell
and
you.
you believe in the role of a headship, you're gonna do so automatically. Because like there is a headship in regards to marriage.
Right,
So
but the thing about it is that it has been interpreted into that because okay, of course the word submission for the most part everybody knows comes from is biblical, right?
Right.
But the thing about it is that what people are not remembering is that the Bible was translated from Hebrew to English, right? And in the translation, the word was really not to be submissive. It was to support. But when it was translated to be submit. And in the meaning, the true meaning of it, it's to be in service to your partner, right? So again, for many agendas, it's been given this weight, negative weight, as if somebody is in control. But at the end of the day, if you love someone, submission shouldn't be a negative thing, right?
Right.
And people shouldn't be using it in a negative light. And like you said, people are using it out of context because it really applied to marriage, healthy marriage. It
yeah.
did not apply to a boyfriend, girlfriend, dating, whatever the case may be, or in a marriage, using it as a control factor. Um, so I think that is a big, again, we use words or we use passages and we really never know really where the basis of it comes from. You understand what I'm saying? Because I okay, let me not ask, I'm gonna ask you all this question. Do you have a problem or see a problem in being submissive to someone that you are married to?
I don't.
No.
And
No.
that's the other
Acting right? No.
And that's the other thing. You said no, Neil. And I think that's the other thing, that we talk about submission as if it only belongs to a woman, but there's submission for a man as well.
Yeah. So see, I feel like, and another thing that gets taken out of context, right? This is all words from biblical meaning that in order for a man and woman to have submission in a relationship, you have to be a God-fearing man in order to be subjected to that type of
Oh
treatment.
Lord, she just about to.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you cannot
She
be
took it there, child. She took it there.
give you
That
the,
part. You can't even make a man go to church nowadays, but he wants you to be submissive to him.
you know what I'm
Lord.
saying? For I need you, a woman that wants to be submissive to a man has to be a God has to fear, because guess what? You are superior to me, but you have to also be humbled and let like God. You have to answer to God too. So you can't be submissive to a man who is not God fearing, because that submission becomes control.
Neil, what you have to say, Neil?
I mean, I don't disagree, right? I just the thought that been going through my head with this conversation is how far left we have gone, right?
Right.
From when I was growing up, I kind of feel like I grew up in a perfect time because we went from regular four-cylinder car to all these luxury cars, we flying on jet, like and women went from being not empowered to now they empowered, right? It's scary to me because a lot of the younger generation don't even think about it's less than 100 years since women and blacks been in certain positions, right? So now they don't think about that. It'll bother me because, like I said, I went to school in Alabama, and certain places when I'd been there in the 80s, I couldn't go,
Mm.
right? I played baseball. We went on a trip. We stopped at a gas station, and one of the guys and that was us would us say, "Can I use the restroom?" And the guy was like, "No." He said, "Is there a restroom in there we can use?" He said, "Yep, but I don't think they'll let you use it." Right? I've been in 80 something, right? So women have come a long way, and rightfully so. Um, Submission, everybody got their ideas of what submission is, and they're gonna be based on what your life experience is, right?
Sure.
I grew up I grew up in a household where my mom and her sisters, their saying was daddy's maybe, mommy's baby, right? Don't depend on no man, just go out and do your thing. Right? So I my cousin them and my sister and everybody is like, you know, yeah, I can have a husband, but I gonna still do my thing, right? But they never went get out of line with their husband and cost them and do all of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's a line, and their husbands were always really good to them. So I think like
But
I know
Neil, at the end of the day, everything in excess or everything can, you know,
absolutely
you can take it to the left, right?
yes,
I put up a video today, and they talked in it about this topic, right? And one of the things that was said was, in when they hear submission, it is submitting to the vision and mission of the man who is leading the household, let's
right,
say, right?
right,
And of course, the gray line comes in now because, yes, sometimes the women are the ones maybe financially leading in the home,
mhm,
right?
right,
But at the end of the day, if you do have a partner who is a good leader, who does have a vision for the family, there's no reason, again, to not support him and to be submissive. But again, it's how people use the word. I just think people use the word so
it
casually.
is it how
And
they use it, or is it how it's always been?
perceived,
No,
because we live in a
it's how they're
Yes,
using
patriarchal
it.
right.
society. Exactly.
It's how
Go
they
ahead.
use it too,
It's how
because
they're using it.
um
Correct.
women, a lot of women don't feel complete a lot of people make women feel incomplete if they're not submissive, right? But in reality, the act of being submissive is defined by your current situation. So a lot of people use it as a insult to women, which makes them rush certain things or not really appreciate their partner that they have, or be in a constant battle. Hold on, guys. Hold on 1 second. Go.
That's okay. Let me just read. I saw Lisa, who I got the whole thing from. I saw her put up a thing, and it said, "We submit to our doctor, to our doctor, our car mechanic. Why do people struggle with submitting to their lover? It simply means to yield to that person's position. Has not well, she said it has nothing to do with Christianity." Go ahead, finish what you were saying, Ashley.
But wait, she said a mechanic, the doctor, and
we have no problem submitting to
because the doctor know what he's talking about, and he come in and give you whatever you have to give you, and that's it. The mechanic know what he's talking about, and he handles you accordingly to your car. So now you have a husband, and if he ain't doing what he's supposed to do,
right? But then you know what people are gonna say. So then, why are you married to him?
So wait. Submission, like you said, women and men both have to be submissive. Wherever your partner lacks, it has to be communication, not entitlement. So if you feel like your partner lacks certain things, it's our job as women to want to be submissive. You want to maintain that energy, because if not, the balance of the household goes left, and you kind of in your household. So if he's not doing what he's supposed to do, then bridge the gap for communication. But like I said, this comes into play with him being a God man, because in order for a guy to be addressed and communicated about what he's doing wrong to his wife, he has to humble himself in order to be able to receive that. So a lot of the times it's like women are quiet and submissive to men because they know if they're open, like they become resentful and then lash out towards the men, because it's like, oh, so you want me to do this, and you don't do none of this, you don't provide none of this, and then by the time they do communicate with the man, we're lashing out at them, or the man is not approachable because he's not God-fearing. So he's truly not even deserving of your submissiveness in the first place.
And I feel, and this for the listeners out there, when she says God-fearing, my perspective of it is the fact of he's following the rules of a husband. That's what I get from God-fearing. So don't get like all crazy Christianity type thing. Disclaimer. Yeah, disclaimer. I really honestly feel when she's saying God-fearing, because there are rules of a husband that you're supposed to follow and of a wife. So if the husband, who is also supposed to be the head, is doing as he's supposed to do as a husband, and then the submission should be automatic. Yeah. So don't change the Bible after you.
Love should take care of that, right?
The Bible
love should take care of that.
No. Love can't. No. Love can't fix them things.
So hold on, right?
I blame the mothers.
Hold on.
That's a whole other conversation.
For me, right? My love don't allow me to be mean or ugly to the person that I say I love, right? So, hold on. Let me finish. And that come with respect. And if I see my mother, I wouldn't want nobody disrespecting my mother, right? So, and I got girl children. I mean disrespecting no woman, mean calling her on her name. I think that's not right. No.
Okay, so
when
you
I
don't
was 13 years old, I did that and I got chastised for it. I never forget that, right? But you got to learn and you got to grow. And I just think that if you care for the person, all that gonna just fall in place.
You think so?
No. When I say so, right?
Because listen, many people say they love. I've been in that situation.
But everybody, what's the definition?
They love you.
Everybody's definition different.
Exactly.
So,
that's number one. But it's not like you were also brought up correctly, because you mentioned your mom. A lot of these people nowadays don't got no bondage with no mothers, and they don't have no type of respect for women, period. So their reactions towards women are going to be a lot different. So again, it comes with the era that we're living in and the upbringing of these people that are currently having, dating and so forth.
I got two nephews that are really like ultimate dudes, right? And they brought up in this time. My nephews are less than 30 years old. right? You're not mute. You're not mute. You're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute. You're on mute.
You're
You
on
keep
mute, Kia.
on mute.
You're on mute. Mute.
Fuck everybody.
Okay, she gonna come back in. Go ahead.
Right. So I've had these conversations, right, where people will say, well, oh, in this generation, or kids smarter than they used to than we used to be, and all that stuff, right? But everything to me is relative. When I was growing up, my grandparents were saying, oh, he's smarter than us. Like he's so smart, she's so smart, right? When my mother had her children, that's what they were saying about us. When my mother was born, that's what they were saying about my mother. Like right, like as as we evolve, we have more knowledge. Who gonna get it first, right? You put a children in school, the newest set of knowledge that come out, they might get right.
Mm-hmm.
When you become adult, adults don't want to learn nothing else, so they just learn what they learn, and then when their kids get older and they learn all new stuff, is so submissive. The submission,
It's, it's
it's
it's been watered.
it's touchy. It's touchy for some people, but for me, it's a word.
It's like submission. Like I understand what he's saying because my everybody passes down uh the
Behavior.
yeah they pass it down what they see, what they hear. They try to their kids game. Oh, let's say for example, like your mom is a broken, scorned woman from your father, and she teaches you something, and now you go apply it, but nothing happens to you yet. So now you're going into a relationship with the mindset of a scorn, but you never even experienced it. So a lot of the new generation sees submissiveness as weakness and as a control mechanism.
Right.
That's how women see it, but a lot of men see it like that too, and they use it against women. So this is also being taught, and nobody is trying to create their own definitions of what it
Right.
would and what it looks like.
Right.
So it's sad.
That's true, because and that was the other thing that they talked about in the video that I shared, because every union has its own intricacies, has its own way to do things, right? And so again, maybe that is a conversation that people don't have. They make assumptions of what submission means to them, because and I had to learn this lesson because I was dating someone and I was thinking I'm cooking, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and all this stuff and whatever, right? And it wasn't until we decided to go our separate ways that in a conversation we're having, it was an assumption I made that I'm thinking I'm doing all this and that's what they wanted, and they didn't even care. We could have bought food every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was.
I didn't hear you.
I was just about to say that to you. There's conversation means everything. You can really be married to a guy that would not care if you know how to boil water. You can really be with a guy who will put housekeeping into his finances so that he can spend more time with you. You do not have to cook and clean to be a woman who possesses that demeanor of submissiveness, or that can act out in submissiveness. You just have to communicate with your partner to see what it looks like. Because I could think, because just like guys, like just because you make the most money doesn't mean that I see you as the head. I see you as the head because you're a God-fearing man. You love me. You love yourself. You're capable of accepting and receiving love. I mean, receiving and giving love. Like, that's what makes a man the head for me. Like, money doesn't make the head, but you wouldn't know until you have a conversation with your partner or start having these conversations with people that you date. You're going to end up thinking that everybody just wants money and everybody just wants you to sweep the floor and cook them dinner. It doesn't work that way.
It's true. Hard lesson to learn.
Preach.
So again, everybody, and again, this is one of the things that we talk about. A lot of times we assume things without having the conversations and checking in with your partner to see, if XYZ is working for, again, the benefit of the marriage, the relationship, the family, We just go on assumptions. That's just how we are. Um, but it's so interesting to me because when I put up a post about submissiveness, people, you could see like the
Attention.
about it, but it just seems like it's such a big conversation now about this submission. But like both Ashley and Kia had said, I think because part of it too is that people are using this in dating, um, and they're not even necessarily in a truly committed relationship. You know what I'm saying? So
Can I
I
interject?
feel like dating and talking about submissiveness, and I just think that that is just like it's a way to continue the whole scorn process, because if a woman feels like I want to have boundary, like that's how you don't you have lack
Can-
of boundary, because you want to say like, listen, when we get to a certain place, but then men that are being raised now feel like, no, this is supposed to be given to me because you are a woman and I'm a man. And a woman now is more opinionated. So they're like, well, I'm taught this way, or I'm learning myself this way. We can have boundaries or something like that. Or a woman is just off the bat just submissive to a man who never earned it. And then now cycles just continue instead of just like, let's just vibe out. Let's see what you like, what I don't like. Let's, get to learn each other. And then we'll go into cohabitating, like, living
right.
together, marriage, stuff like that. Let's just not talk
Yeah,
about like be
but
submissive. I like that.
can I say something? At the end of the day, right? Everybody trying to live, and people are doing what they know how to do best,
Yeah.
right? I had conversations with my friends, and I was like, autism been around for ages, right? But it just been within the last maybe 20, 30 years, it's been a definition for autism, right? So what our parents were doing, or grandparents, or whatever it was doing back then, was normal, right? Listen, I get beat with belt and broomstick and that kind of thing, right? That wasn't right, but it was okay to do that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it ain't okay, right? So I just think even with relationships, right? You the sum of your experiences. You're gonna go out there and you're gonna do you feel it's best. No, one of the lessons I learned about relationships that I wasn't taught, because when I was growing up, my dad would always tell me, "Don't worry about nobody else but you."
Right.
But I was never told that when you're in a relationship, that all of that stuff kind of out the window. So
Right.
as I get in relationships, I still thinking about me, right? Until I met a woman and she told me, "Listen, when I was married, I used to always consider my husband's feelings before mine." And I was like, "Who does that?" You know what I mean? But
Okay.
but when I really thought about it and processed it, it was like, yeah, it because I can do what I want to do, right? That will always make me happy. But what makes me happy may not make the person that I care about happy,
Right.
right? So you consider that person feeling, and oh well, you know what? We had this conversation. They don't like that, so guess what? I gonna just take a backseat on that for now, right? And it's a give and receive, you
Right.
know. So
Right. A give and take. I'm going to read a couple of these comments. I saw someone write, yes, my mom is a woman scorned. She absolutely hates men. Of course, naturally, she has made plenty of statements while raising me, but I decided not to let that make me feel scorned without being scorned. Someone else said, I cannot submit to a man that cannot lead me out of a paper bag. Innately, women don't mind being submissive, but it is earned, not just expected.
but they
Um,
go both ways. It's on
true,
both sides.
true. And that's the thing. I think what makes this thing such a big deal is because we're always talking about a woman being
Right,
submissive.
right.
But again, not looking at the whole sentence or the whole verse or whatever in totality. It is being submissive onto someone else who's being submissive. You know what I'm saying? So again,
You know what just came to my head?
case what we want.
This thought came to my head, right? For years, that people saying happy wife, happy life, right? I
Uh-huh.
never believe in that. Because me happy, she gonna be happy. If she happy, me gonna be happy, right?
Happy
But
spouse, happy house.
but I got a lot of people that they hear that and they use it once or twice and they walk, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, this is the way I'm gonna operate.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
that's
just
why,
just
that's
saying.
why a lot of people say that marriage is for women. And that is sad because marriage should be for a man and woman. But they say women because men sometimes, like the whole entitlement that women have when they come into, like everything has to be surrounding them. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, not that's not an excuse because you can speak up for yourself, but
Right.
that's why a lot of men have different outlets, or they don't even bother expressing themselves, or they feel like, I'll just go make the money and you'll just do this. And it's like that the wife is happy, but the man is just like getting by, like just providing and reaping regular benefits of having a partner. And it's not really a partnership, it's like just husband and wife. Is no like relationship anymore, it's
Right.
just titles. So
Yeah,
a lot of, yeah.
it's true. Someone else wrote, "How can a woman be submissive when her role model?" Well, we talked about it. Role model doesn't know how to be submissive. A man cannot lead if there's no father in the home.
Not true. Not true.
Okay.
I mean, I know friends that grew up in the projects and they like doing really well in society, right? I think I know people will learn from like you may not be in a good household, but if the friends that you have are in a good household, I always use this as an example. Every child have to choose which side of the family they want to be on. They look at the father side, look at the mother side. Which one gonna benefit them the most, right? The one that you're happiest in the most, you always want to be there,
Okay.
right? You got two sides of the family you got to deal with. So you have at some point you got to make a decision. Like that's how I see it, right? Like your mother side or your father side, right? The one that making me happy and I getting what I want. I want to be there all the time.
But
You
not
know?
necessarily, because what if it's the one that you're always around? It doesn't necessarily mean they're the ones that make you happiest, but it might be the one that you're there's more
Well,
involvement with.
if you have equal opportunity to be wrong, both of them, you're right. I agree. You're right.
Right.
But now they're speaking about people who don't have males in the household, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's what somebody mentioned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because someone basically said you can't lead if there's no father in the home.
But I also feel like, listen, like at a certain age, you have to realize that you have to make the decision to stop the cycle. Like if you feel like, well, I didn't have an example growing up, there's other resources you can
Yeah.
have. Like you can watch podcasts, you can read books, you can actually just go read the Bible and go to church and get into certain things that can help you be a man of virtue. But excuses lead to more different cycles that's created and broken homes. And now look, your son doesn't have a father to look up to
So
be a
can I say one thing? That we
right.
kind of can we kind of just regress from all the church thing, right? Because you got a bunch of crazy people in church,
No,
right?
no, no, no. But see, that's it's.
So
I feel like it's a relationship that you have. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's boundaries to everything, religion included. So
right.
you go humble yourself and pick up a book and have your own church in your house with yourself, relationship. Like, learn and nurture yourself in different ways. Because in anywhere you go, whether you go to school, church, with your family, somebody can manipulate their way to make a definition of something that don't even exist. You know what I'm saying? So it's more about boundaries, like going headstrong with an intention. Because people use religion and they're intentional about it because they know that they can hide behind God. So they go and they do certain things, and then you know what I'm saying? Like they do certain things, they pick up the Bible, they use God to be bad people. So it's
But
all about your
your
intention.
assumption that people could read, they could comprehend what they read, right? Like reading and comprehension are two different things, right? They got a lot of people that
True.
could read, but when they see something or trying to interpret something,
Yeah.
they're gonna always go back to what their experience is.
True.
Yeah, but if they have no experience, let's say they don't even know what a man of virtue looks like, they didn't never had it. I think that I had seen somebody say that they looked up to Will Smith. Will
To who?
Smith in the Fresh Prince. No,
Yeah,
back
yeah,
then, like the father, Doctor
Right.
Uncle
yeah.
Phil, Uncle Phil.
Right.
He's like, I know you ain't talking about him right now. No, talking about back then. Like they don't have father figures, so they watch feel good sitcoms
Right.
to
Right.
kind
Right.
of get an idea. That's what I mean. Like,
Okay.
if you want to learn how to be a good, person, start listening to stuff that feeds your soul. Start joining book clubs. I know, like, a lot of people won't do the work, but there's still no excuse because there's so many opportunities.
Correct. There truly is. And again, this is part of why we even have Love and Enlightenment, because it's been proven that a lot of times you surround yourself around sometimes the same people. So it doesn't allow you to grow,
Yeah.
to listen to different perspectives, because a lot of times, especially in our communities, we're not necessarily intentional of the conversations that we're having in our homes.
Yeah.
See me shaking my head, right?
Why?
Because you could be around good people, but if you're not open to change
That's part of it
and new
too.
ideas,
Correct.
it's out of mute point, right? Because
We could talk until we're blue in the face. If you don't decide to listen with purpose, then you not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's gonna go in one ear. It's like you have to be open to learn. The tools are there, but why even have access to the tools if it's not going?
but people have to learn to do that. You can't just get up one day and say, yeah, I'm gonna do it, right? You have to learn to do it.
Yeah, you have to discipline yourself. You have
Yeah.
to.
True. That's true. That's true. But I do think that if people are surround themselves, because it's having these conversations are good, because number one, it's given me an opportunity when we talk about a subject to really actually go and do the work and research,
Yeah.
but also hearing other people's experiences and other people's perspectives, because everybody's coming with different backgrounds, raised differently, living their life differently. It even gives even more additional. And I'm also a person that wants to learn. So I'm going to take and I'm going to use what I'm going to use for the benefit of me. Right. But I just think that a lot of times, I think about when I was growing up. I mean, my mom passed away when I was 22. I was still young. Right. But I think about when we were growing up, we just didn't have certain conversations. You know what I'm saying? You did this or you didn't do that. But in terms of intention, and again, even with this word, and again, that doesn't necessarily mean what's being talked about in your home is the correct thing. But I don't think that we ever had a conversation about what it means to be. I've always said I don't have a problem being submissive. I'm not gonna let nobody take advantage of me. And I surely am a different woman now than I was 20 years ago. You're laughing. And let me tell you, I was not in a healthy relationship, and we were married for 25 years, together for 30. It was not healthy. Yes, that long. Wow. Since high school. We were not. It was not a healthy relationship, right? My parents got divorced when I was 7, so I had cousins that had their parents had good relationships, but a lot of my mom's friends were divorced. So I didn't grow up necessarily seeing like many healthy relationship. My grandparents had a good relationship, right? But I didn't have a problem with being submissive, but I realized you cannot be submissive to someone who is not leading. You cannot be submissive to someone who is abusive. You know what I'm saying? You can't be a submissive person for that. But I've never been that person that said, because I was in a bad relationship, I couldn't be submissive. I could be. I think my personality is a submissive person, but I'm still a go-getter.
Just food for thought.
Mm-hmm.
If you grow up in an abusive situation with your parents and you got an abusive man, that's normal to them. How you gonna know that's how you gonna know that's abusive?
Because of how you feel.
Yeah, but if you've been abused from a kid, and your parents you seen your mom or your dad being abused, right? Mm-hmm. At some point that becomes normal behavior. So when you get with somebody, right, that person have to do that, or that person ain't showing that they love you. It kind of.
Well, I think of it like this. I think it's people interpret trauma differently. So it depends on the person. Like some people, that was 100% fact, but some people, when you watch it growing up, you know that the way it makes you feel doesn't feel right. So when you experience something that makes you feel happy, then that's when you start learning the difference of what's bad and what's good. So when you see it or you get into it, you want to get out of it, because sometimes you may love your parents, but you never idolize them. So when you see examples of them, you run away from it. So it's it's an either or type of thing, and that's why we have as adults have to have more conversations. We have to do more things that we like, so that when things happen that we don't like, we either know how to speak up or run away from them, like get away, like.
Correct. Absolutely correct. I feel bad because there were so many comments and I didn't get to really get to them. We're coming up on the hour. Let me just read a couple more. Power imbalances can damage intimate relationships over time. Every situation is different, but it's important to know the common signs of an abusive relationship. There are a couple extensive lists of red flags that are always visible, but we tend to ignore them, which is absolutely correct. Let me see if I see a couple more.
Les Turner.
Go ahead.
She said, I think men benefit the most from marriage. Women are caregivers to everyone and keep the house running, and now still have to work. It's expensive to only have one parent working.
He breathes out.
Take it away. Take it away.
So I could see how that person view that, right? Because here again, daddy's maybe mommy's baby. He walk away. She gotta be with the child, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, right? You gotta understand. Everybody got a responsibility in that there, right? You lay down with this person, you got to understand that if you lay down with this person, you could get pregnant, right? My mother always tell me, if you ain't been there, your name can't be called, right?
That's true.
So you got to, if you don't want to be in a situation like that, there, then we got measures now that they didn't have back in them days, right? So, but
what measures? Because
it's a 6-week limit over here.
That's what I was about to say.
No. When I say so, right?
Oh.
Like I my assumption is back in the 60s they didn't have stuff like condom also, right?
Okay, like
That's my assumption,
prevent
right?
it. Not to get rid of it.
IUDs and them kind of things, right? That's my assumption.
Right.
Right. So, but yeah, it's a bad deal, right? It's a bad deal. But people gonna hate me for this, but I always say, listen, no. I always tell any woman that come to me with that stuff, listen, talk to God about that, guys. He make you a woman, I a dude. You know what I mean? I gotta deal with the stuff the dudes to deal with, right? But I also know that women are powerful, right? Because my uncle and I always say, I think it's one here, and I hear could put 1,000 man. You check, so they could control the situation as well. But is it control you want, or you just want love and affection, and
I think that comment, like, obviously she's probably speaking from experience, either she experienced, like you said, or something that was passed down to her from viewing a lot. I feel like men benefit in marriage, but not more. I feel like they benefit in marriage for their status, depending on their job. A man is also he is identified by what he has in every aspect of the world. When a man walks in a room, they want to know what he has. When a woman walks in a room, they just want to know who she is and how good she looks. And men always have to earn their place in just everything. Like, let's we go in a social setting. It's like, what do you do for a living? Like, where's your wife? Like, you work big corporate jobs, but you don't have.
I might not agree with that, right? Because what somebody's looking for and looking or they idolize don't mean that that's me.
No, but I'm saying a lot of men that like that's how I could see that they benefit. Either they genuinely want it, or the status of being a married man. It shows that you have yourself together in a sense, and that. But I feel like women, but I feel like women benefit off of marriage the most. I feel like women benefit off the marriage the most. But in an equally yoked marriage, you guys both will benefit off of it equally.
So in this, when I lived in Atlanta, it was 14 women to 1 man. right? If I could have 7 and they gonna take care of me and do all that stuff, and I could still live my own life, right? I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying. If a man gonna look at life that way, if I get married, I in jail, I lock up. Ain't gonna benefit me. Ain't gonna benefit me. A lot of man don't look at it that way. I understand what you're saying. Um, for me, for me, I always wanted to be married, right? I always felt like if if you find the right person, you could be married for the next 50 years and wake up happy every single day.
That's true.
But if you find the wrong person, 30 years are just misery every day, girl. You know what I mean? So it'll work both ways, but
You're right.
it'll take a lot of work. I was told at 12 years old, the hardest thing I'll ever do in my life is to stay married because every day is a sacrifice and a compromise.
You're right.
But I was told that at a young age, so it never went away from me. And you got to be willing to sacrifice and to compromise. You have to.
Right. And put in the work.
Yes.
Put in the work.
Beneficial. It should be
To
You're
both.
right. Yeah, I agree 100%. Everybody should benefit. They
Because
get
somebody
enough,
should
they
be
get
with the
enough
person.
happiness and love in this world for all of us to get equal.
yeah.
True. True. Well, I guess Kia, she must have had some difficulties, and Joel didn't get to join us, but I'll have him come back on another show. We used to go a little longer, but I'm really trying to be responsible and only do it for an hour. And I'm going to tell you guys, like I tell everybody who comes on the show, thank you again for saying that you would come on tonight. Know that I will be asking you to come on again. Sometimes the conversations are even
I ain't
more.
pay for it though.
Huh?
I ain't pay for it the next time.
I wish I were getting paid, but you know what? This is what I say. We took on this journey to do this 2 years ago, and of course, I would
Just a
love
joke.
to get paid for
Just
it,
a
right?
joke. Just a joke.
No. I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, I realized like how many people we have been able to impact in different ways just by having this conversation, people observing, people being part of it, kind of creating like this little community, right? And so, yes, if it got to the point where we could get paid, that would be wonderful. But my thing is, if this helps someone in some way, even if all it does is take the conversation
Don't
somewhere
take
else.
that serious. Don't take that serious.
No, I'm just saying because trust me, I know why I'm saying this. Although we can, if you can go to work or you can be at home or you're sitting down with your spouse or you're thinking or contemplating dating someone or getting married to somebody, this may be something you never even thought you needed to have a conversation about. And now you're like, oh, yeah, we need to make it clear to understand what you think submission means, right? So for me, every conversation that we have, because we have this every Thursday, every conversation, and sometimes we do have fun and jokiness and whatever, but if you take away something from it that helps you, uplifts you, supports you, encourages you, that's all that really matters, honestly, for me. I realize this is like purposeful work, intentional. So,
But it definitely dedicated an hour to drama or so. I don't mind.
well, I when you said you were going to come on, I was like, she said yes.
But you weren't excited for me though. Oh, that's messed up.
No. I'm just saying because I really honestly I feel like I know Ashley. I feel like she's like a daughter because of social media, but I don't know her. And although I don't know you personally, Neil, we grew up at home together. So trust me, I am very, very honored that you said yes, because one of the biggest issues I have with Love and Enlightenment is getting guys. Because women, it's easy to get women to come on and talk about their feelings and to discuss.
Are they talking? Are they talking or they venting or they passion? I mean,
And that's the point. I don't want it to be a venting session. I really honestly want it to be having dialogue, but I want everybody to be able to hear both men and women's side, right? Because I've been fortunate that I have a lot of male friends. So I can understand both sides. I see it from both sides, but I have a lot of friends that don't have male friends for whatever reason, or have male friends, but they don't have these kind of conversations with them. So they exert themselves in men's lives, and they don't understand the things that men have to deal with, how they go through life, why they show up the way that they show up. And so I really do thank you as well for coming on, because when Pinky was like, oh, Neil could come, I was like, yes, because that's always my struggle.
I wish the boy Randy would have been on with me.
Huh?
Yeah, I wish Randy would have been on with me.
I know. I asked Randy to be on. He was watching. I asked him to be on, but he didn't come on. But Randy has been on a lot. And actually, I've learned a word from Randy. I always give him homage, because one of the things he says all the time is value. You have to understand your value. And I think it is very important for you to show up in life well if you understand your value. And so I have taken that away from him. I take a little, something away from everybody. So I definitely, somebody telling you to behave. I'm definitely appreciate you guys for coming on. I will be reaching back out. And if you all have topics that you would like for us to discuss, like I said, we've been doing this for 2 years. I like to ask the questions because I feel like I've done so much talking for the 2 years. I like to hear new perspectives. I like different age groups to talk. So I definitely appreciate you. And I appreciate everybody who looked on, everybody who commented. Because again, the only way we can grow and learn is through having these conversations, right? And although I say we do have professionals come on ever so often, I say we're all professionals in our own right, because we all have our own experiences. We come to the table with it, right? And so I definitely thank you guys. You two don't log off when we end the broadcast, but I want to tell everybody to be safe, be well. Thank you. And we will be back here again on next week, Thursday. Next week, Thursday might just be like a fun, because it's Thanksgiving. It just might be a fun show, but we'll see you back here next week, Thursday.
Make sure y'all subscribe.
Thank you. Thank you. Be well. Thank you, guys.